Thank you, Chairman. General Bogdan, I wanted to ask you, recently General Welch came before our committee and said that the mission capability of the A-10 will not be replaced by the F-35, yet the website for the Joint Strike Fighter program says that the F-35 will replace the A-10. So can you answer this question for us? There's an inconsistency there, and I would like to know, is General Welch right, or is your website right?
Thank you for that question, ma'am. First, the force structure of the U.S. Air Force and its fighter inventory is well beyond my purview. So I won't try and explain what General Welch said or what the decision-making process is for the Air Force on replacing their fighter inventory.
But General, I think this is an important question. So if General Welch comes before our committee and says the F-35A is not going to replace the A-10, and yet the Joint Strike Fighter website says that the F-35A will replace the A-10, pretty important as we think about the capabilities of the A-10. Secretary Kendall?
Yeah, I can't speak for certain for General Welch, but I think what he was trying to say was that we will, in fact, first of all, both statements I think are correct. We will, in fact, replace the A-10s.
Both statements can't be correct.
Well, we will, in fact, replace the A-10s with F-35s. That is the plan. But the F-35 will not do close air support mission the same way the A-10 does. It will do it very differently. The A-10 was designed to be low and slow and close to the targets that it was engaging, relatively speaking. We will not use the F-35 in the same way as the A-10, so it will perform the mission very differently.
So let me ask Dr. Gilmore, so if it's going to perform the mission very differently, is it not important that we understand how the two compare? And so I would ask you, how will there be comparison testing, not just with the A-10, but with other comparative airframes that the F-35 is going to replace? And how will the operational testing comparing the close air support capabilities of the F-35A and A-10 be conducted?
Okay. Senator, if I could just point out, I have here the operational requirements document for F-35, and on page 2 it says the F-35A will rely primarily upon the F-22 for air superiority and will assume the current F-16 role as the low end of the USAF high-low fighter mix strategy and the A-10 role. So that's in the operational requirements document.
Okay, so if it's going to perform the A-10 role, it's a pretty darn important role to our men and women on the ground. So what about the fly-off? Yeah. How will that go down?
We are going to do a comparative test of the ability of the F-35 to perform close air support, combat search and rescue, and related missions with the A-10. We're also going to do a comparison test as an integral part of operational test and evaluation of the ability of the F-35 to perform suppression and destruction of enemy air defenses with the F-16 and the F-18. This operational requirements document has numerous citations to the performance expected at F-35 in relationship to the aircraft it's going to replace. So that operational testing is entirely consistent with the operational requirements document. It's also, the comparison testing is also not unprecedented. There was comparison testing between the F-22 and the F-15. And there's been comparison testing as part of other operational tests, including things like tactical vehicles, like the Joint Light Tactical Vehicle and the Humvee. So to me, comparison testing just makes common sense.
Of course.
If you're spending a lot of money to get improved capability, that's the easiest way to demonstrate it, is to do a rigorous comparison test. And with regard to CAS, we're going to do it under all the circumstances that we see CAS conducted, including under high threat conditions in which we expect F-35 will have an advantage, and other conditions requiring loitering on the target, low altitude operations and so forth, in which there are a lot of arguments that ensue about which aircraft might have the advantage, the A-10 or the F-35, but that's what the comparison test is meant to show us.
Well, I think that's really important so that we can understand the capability comparisons there. So General Bogdan, I wanted to ask you, I had asked a question of General Welch in March as to when do you expect the SDB-2 to achieve a demonstrated full mission capability for the F-35A?
Ma'am, our program of record has the SDB-1 coming in the end of Block 3F, which is in the 2017 timeframe, but SDB-2, which is a much more enhanced capability for that precision weapon, is planned for the first increment of our Block 4, and that's approximately in the 2021-22 timeframe.
Okay, I think that's an important issue as well, because the SDB-2 provides F-35A an ability to kill mobile targets in adverse weather, which is something that obviously the A-10 has capability on. So I hope that is taken into consideration as we look at this comparison.
The comparison testing will be done with mobile targets and targets in close proximity to buildings and civilian structures, but in particular with mobile targets. And as I mentioned, right now, the mobile target capability of the F-35 is problematic, and how much it will be corrected as we get to Block 3F remains to be seen. SDB-2 in 2022 will provide a weapon that can actually follow the target. Before that, in 2020, laser JDAM also may help in that regard, but the current moving target capability is limited.
I know my time is up, but one of the things that continues to worry me is under the Air Force's plan, the A-10s were all retired by 2022, and seems to me that these are still important questions that remain that very much matter to our men and women on the ground. Thank you.